When I was like 9 years old, I wrote a book and I loved it. And I was like, I'm going to be an author one day. But with life, like life gets in the way and you start getting all these limiting beliefs and doubts. And I realized after this entire time that my mindset is the only thing that is in my way. I'm Lily. I'm working on publishing my first book, and I've been sharing my journey writing books online for about 6 months now. And I want to talk about my journey and everything that I've gone through and the mindset that has kept me going. In April 2024, I decided that I was going to take my writing seriously. I'd been writing for over a year at that point, and I knew that I enjoyed it and it was creative and it was something that I found passion in. But I was in this stage of trying to figure out what to put my life energy towards. I was just about to graduate college and I had a degree in something completely different, and I had been pursuing a completely different creative path. And I always loved writing. It was always something that was on my mind, but I never really considered writing to be something that was really a good potential because of the logistics and the risk involved. As someone who is writing a book and pursuing a path that is very unconventional and very not logical for a recent college grad, it's something that feels in tune with what I'm meant to do, and that's what I have to follow. I always thought I was going to be a travel blogger, and I do love travel, but it was something where I loved writing, but I didn't think it was a real option for a career. So I was doing travel blogging, and I remember someone was like, you should do social media for your travel blog, and I was looking into it. I was also looking into freelance writing and all these other ideas because I knew I loved writing, but I didn't think that I could actually write novels and sell them. I thought that that was something that was meant for certain types of people, and I wasn't allowed or good enough to do that. So I was trying all these other endeavors, and even though they were more logical, it wasn't working. Like, I had a blog, I had a travel blog, and I looked into blogging and I took a course on blogging. I knew that blogging was profitable. I knew that there was substance there and that there was a real career possibility, and putting all my energy into finding internships, to building my resume, to building my portfolio. I was really focused on that as a path, and nothing was really working. I remember I did social media for travel and I posted like 3 videos, and I kind of lost interest because either they weren't really getting engagement, or it wasn't something that was really coming from the energy within me. And I realized that if you're going to do something creative and unconventional and something that is going to take extra effort, it has to be something that already feels natural to you and doesn't take extra effort. Where if I wanted to do something unconventional and creative, it had to be something that I already loved so much that the thought of doing it didn't sound like hard work, it sounded fun. So obviously any professional endeavor is going to be hard if you're going to make it your living, but at least if it's something that I love and enjoy, I will be able to go through that long period of not making any money. And because I love it so much, I'll be okay with that. Doing the social media, it wasn't working. And I had this book that I put on the side for a while because I was in college and I was focusing on internships and getting jobs, and that was just wasn't realistic at the time. And I remember getting this really specific shift in my mindset. It was very simple, and I don't remember exactly how it happened, but I'll always remember it to this day. I was in my room and I was thinking, what if I use social media for writing? Where I started showing my journey of writing my book, because I felt like I wasn't holding myself accountable, where I was trying to write like 100 words a day, but I wasn't doing much of it because I was so distracted with all these other logical endeavors that I had to do. So I thought of, if I made this series of holding myself accountable to writing my book, I would eventually write that book and then it would succeed. I posted my first video on TikTok, and it got more interaction than like anything that I've ever done before. And it still wasn't anything crazy, but it was like 40 to 50 likes and like 3 comments. And I was taken aback that people were even commenting, because I was just doing it just to hold myself accountable and seeing if anything would come out of it. And I remember I started posting it, and then I was like, oh, people are actually interested in this, and people are interested in what I have to say. And I used to be a really anxious person when it came to social media. I would overthink everything. I would overthink how I said things, how I talked about things, like what I would post, how I would edit everything. And I realized that when I was talking about writing, and when I was writing and sharing my journey as a writer, I wasn't overthinking. It felt easy and it felt like it flowed. And that is what I realized, where my intuition was pushing me in this direction that my logical brain wasn't understanding. I was a month out of graduating undergrad. My intuition was telling me to put all my energy into social media and pursue this writing journey and write my book. And it clearly doesn't make sense, because I should have been focusing on finding a job and doing the things that people do, or traveling or doing all those things. But I realized that that was just where my heart was at the time. And every time I sat down to write, I got so excited. I remember I would go to the library at my college and I would just write and make these little videos. And it started as a really fun hobby and it just kept growing and growing. And I committed to posting once a day, because I thought that if I can commit to posting once a day on social media, then that will keep me committed to writing this book. Because writing a book is really hard, and staying consistent with a creative project can be so daunting, because creativity ebbs and flows. It's not something that you can just measure and it's the same every day. It just kept growing and growing, and I started getting more engagement and people started connecting with me, and I started meeting other people. And in this community, I saw what was possible. I was connecting with authors and people that were making a living off of their work and were writing and self-publishing and traditional publishing and doing everything and living their life. And they were my age and they looked like me. And seeing that representation and seeing people doing something that I thought wasn't possible immediately flipped a switch in my brain where I was like, this is possible. And ever since I started pursuing this seriously, I have felt this knowing that it is correct. Where for a long time, I always knew that I wanted to do something self-employed, unconventional, creative, genuine, authentic to me as a career. And I just couldn't figure out what it was. And that's why I tried travel blogging and freelance writing. And at one point I was doing something else and I'm honestly forgetting it, but I was trying lots of different things because I was so invested in this concept of this type of career. The only thing that was stopping me from considering writing books was because I didn't think it was possible. And now I want to talk about this mindset, because now that I've been working on my book for over 6 months now, seriously, I've been posting on social media for about 6 months, I have realized that mindset is the most important thing to succeed in this path, or to succeed in any path that is meant for you. Imposter syndrome is something that is really normal, especially with social media and writing especially. And the only way that I'm able to tackle this is to keep going and keep showing up for myself and keep improving, because the more that I've been involved in this community and the more that I've written, I feel less of an imposter in the stages that I've already overcome. I still feel like a huge imposter in this idea of publishing a book and being a full-time author, but I don't feel like an imposter in talking about my journey and sharing my social media and talking about starting a draft and finishing a draft and staying consistent, because those are things that I've proven to myself that I can do and that I'm qualified to talk about and share. You kind of have to let go of all these logistic fears, where the fears of not having enough money, not doing something that's secure, not doing something that people might expect you to do, but this inner knowing that is pulling you towards that direction. Obviously, you have to be smart and take calculated risks. But what I'm saying is that when your intuition knows something, that's when you have to follow it. Because ever since I followed this intuition of me writing and taking this seriously, I've never seen my social media grow like this ever. And I remember I started a YouTube video back when I was 18 before college, and it's about mindset, because I love mindset, because I really think it's so important. But I privated my videos after like 3 views and I stopped posting because I was so scared. But I've always known that I wanted to share something and to speak and to communicate my journey, because I watch videos like this all the time and this is what really keeps me going. So I wanted to create more to give back. We really are what we think we can do. And I made a vision board back in the beginning of this year, and I had this phrase on it where it was like, see it, believe it, do it, be it. And I feel like that's like my motto for this whole writing thing, where like I can see myself being an author. I can see it. I can visualize it. I can see myself like living a life where I'm writing every day. I'm publishing books. I'm interacting online. I'm going to book signings. I'm talking about my book on a big platform. I'm communicating with people and helping readers and having those emotional connections. Like I can see it. And that can also be in the form of like daydreaming, visualization, manifestation, or just like intuition. Like you can just like see it, like feel it. And then believing it is the second part. So believing it is you have to believe that you are capable. And this whole idea of like, if you think you can, you can. And if you think you can't, you can't. I really believe that, where if you believe that you can do something, you can do it. And it all comes down to what you think you're capable of. And for me, growing that belief in myself has come through staying consistent and building routines and building trust with myself that I can continue to grow and grow. And having that belief that I have that potential in me. I might not see it right now, but it will come in the future. That's what's important. We're believing that I will get somewhere. So I believe it. And then I do it, doing the stages that will get you to where you want to be. So writing every day, setting up routines, posting videos even when you feel scared to, talking about it with other people, taking this seriously and doing the steps that taking action, where taking action is so important for any mindset and goal, where like just taking action, like start messy, like fail forward, or whatever you have to tell yourself to just take action, because you're not going to feel like it all the time and it's going to be really hard. But just taking consistent action is going to show to yourself that you can do it and you will make progress. And that's what's so powerful. And then be it. So this is the concept of being something before you're already it, where I know I will be a full-time author at some point. I can feel it, I can see it, I can believe it, but I have to be it before I am it. Because this idea of like manifestation and abundance, you have to like feel like you are already something before you are. And I think acting in an identity and choosing an identity before you can see that you're that identity is the most important thing for change, where I am an author. I am a full-time author. Like, I'm not gonna lie and be like, oh, I'm a full-time author right now, but I am an author. I am a writer. I am someone who is pursuing this. And even just like thinking delusionally, like I am already an author, I'm already successful, success is inevitable. Having all of these mindsets shows you that you are already this identity. And once you act like an identity, you're going to attract that abundance to you, and you're going to attract that identity. I'm gonna post like I'm an author. I'm gonna write like I'm an author. I'm gonna talk about it like I'm an author. That is going to make me an author. Mindset is everything, because you can read all the craft books, you can learn from all the experts, you can do all the things, you can write every day, but if you don't feel it and you don't talk to yourself in the right way, it can be so hard to actually see progress and live that life. And I know that it's possible for me because I've seen how far I've come, where right now I am on the 4th draft of my first book. But I remember being at the very beginning where I had this idea to write a book and feeling that I could already get to the 4th draft. And because now that I'm at the 4th draft, I know that I was correct. So now when I'm at the 4th draft and I can feel that I can see my book being published, I know that that already exists. So I'm just going to work towards that. But if I was in the very beginning and I was like, I don't think I can write a book, I don't think I can do this, I could never get to the point where I am now, because I wouldn't take that aligned action to get to that point. It sounds awesome, it sounds great, but the reality of it is that you have to keep checking yourself and keep telling yourself these things and keep showing up for yourself mindfully, because there's a lot of self-doubt, there's a lot of ruts. I get into a lot of bad thinking patterns. I'm not perfect. There's a lot of imposter syndrome and limiting beliefs and all these issues, but I think about how if other people can do it, I can too, where everyone that has been successful and creative and abundant in this creative world, they have gone through those rejections and they have gone through those self-doubts and that imposter syndrome and the writer's block. And writing, for example, like writing and this idea of being inspiring, it's something that I've committed to, and I'm going to write and pursue this even if I don't feel motivated or inspired in that moment. And this whole idea of committing to this and showing up again and again and again and again, I will get to that inevitably. This is one of my favorite mindset quotes, where it's like, your skill hasn't caught up to your taste yet, where if you have this taste where you can like picture this beautiful story that is going to like change lives, but you're writing and it's not getting there yet, that means that your skill just hasn't caught up, where you just have to keep going, because that's inevitable. You're going to get to that point because you can feel it. But right now in this moment, you're not seeing it because you just have to keep going. And I think a lot of times, like now that I've been on social media, a lot of people are very similar. And I think that's why I want to share my journey. It's not to be this expert and talk to you about all these things, because I am in the thick of this where I haven't had the big success yet. I haven't had the big epiphany. I'm just sharing my journey as I go, because not only will it be helpful for me to look back on when I'm older and I'm wiser and I'm more successful and see, wow, like look at where I came from. I want to show you the raw, real journey of someone going through this for the first time and learning as I go and going through trial and error, having failures, having setbacks, having like thoughts, having everything, because I want to show the whole part of the journey, because that's how I will show you that it's possible. Because if I was younger and I saw myself doing this right now, I would know that it is possible for me, because I can see myself doing it. We both come from the same desire. And I think that desire to write and that desire to grow and whatever you desire is already yours. I love that mindset where it's like if you desire something, it's because you're energetically connected to it. If you just take aligned action, you will get there. And that's why I want to share this journey, because I want to show you that I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm still doing something. And that is the most important thing, where people don't learn things from hearing other videos. Like videos like this is what gets you excited to start going and gets you inspired and helps you get out of ruts. But what really helps you is taking action and doing it yourself and learning as you go, because I've done a lot and I've had a lot of different perspectives, and in these last 6 months I've taken this so seriously because I feel it and I know it's coming. And it's so hard because my current reality right now doesn't match my vision and what I feel and what I identify as, but that's okay because I know it's coming, and just I have to keep going. And even when I have ruts and setbacks and limiting beliefs and everything, I just have to believe and know that I am already what I desire, and then it will come to fruition eventually. I hope that this was inspirational. It, at least at the very minimum, it just felt real and you can actually connect with someone and feel like you could see someone's journey. Yeah, I'm excited for you. I know you have so much potential. I know you have potential because I have potential, and I really believe that we all have this untapped potential in our own given field that is just ready to just pour into the world, and we just have to allow ourselves to believe that we can do it. Yeah, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and happy writing.